Hello, I'm Councillor Sue Blatchford and I'm the current Mayor of Southampton. And I did an earlier talk about the first floor of inside the Civic Centre, and I referred to the Mayor's reception room, where on either side you've got the dates of past mayors from 1932. So special treat, I'm going to actually take you inside the Mayor's reception room and point out the room itself. If I opened the right door. So this is our grand reception room used for citizenship ceremonies nowadays. It's used at mayor making, where we bring in our guests for the event and other special occasions. Now, normally there are tables scattered around the room with items which have been gifted to the city by people coming from all over the world. But we actually replaced the curtains. Having been the mayor before, I remember with the curtains closed for an event, you could see all the sun coming through the holes. So we've actually got some nice new curtains, but we have got the original pelmet, which has actually got the coat of arms of the city on it. So the room itself, very unusual stone, I'm not too sure what one it is, with a very grand ceiling with an enormous chandelier in the middle. What I do know is that for them to do any work on the chandelier, that the staircase to get up into the roof space is behind the portrait of the Queen. There is a door to actually climb the steps to actually get up to the roof itself. When you're the mayor, you can actually choose the paintings which you have displayed on the wall. Because of the pandemic, these paintings have actually been up for some time, and they've actually not been changed. So they're not actually my choice, but it doesn't matter because they reflect the historical aspect of the town, its association with the port itself. There are unusual items as well. So for example, a pern on the table, a gift to a notable Southampton resident, Edwin Jones. And so the glass dishes contained sweets. There's candelabras on the table as well. There are the two special cabinets where our very precious items are stored, which are usually locked and alarmed. So with this building being opened in 1932, come the Second World War, it did receive some bomb damage, and there is a burnt patch where an incendiary bomb came through the roof, and it's sort of quite satisfying that they actually didn't repair it, but it actually retains this burnt patch just to show people the impact of what's actually happened to the building in the past. There are two doors to the reception room, and this is a very special door that I like to call the Narnia door, because you open it and just like the wardrobe in the Narnia story, there is another door to actually be opened, which leads into another part of the heritage rooms, our very special civic centre. We're in the Mayor's office, which is a very masculine room because it was designed by men and built mainly for men because there weren't a lot of women involved in the council at the time. The walls are French walnut, beautiful, I think, makes it a bit dark but very attractive. All the furniture here is original from 1932 when the building was actually opened. And you have these very traditional armchairs, leather with a coat of arms in them. Very uncomfortable to sit in, but I think they're probably better for men, designed for men. I'm standing in the alcove which has actually got the fireplace, although there's no chimney. The building is actually heated by boilers at the time. But I do like the electric fire, the electric coal effect fire. It doesn't give out any heat, but as an original item in the room, it is actually retained for that use. Again, in this room, you can actually choose the paintings you have on the wall. And again, because of the pandemic, not able to choose my favourite paintings from the art gallery. I did have my choices in my brain as to what I wanted, but not possible. There is the wardrobe where the robes are actually stored, and the hats and other important items for dressing up for special occasions. There is a very large grand desk which has got a perpetual calendar, which I love, leather topped, and a very large desk, and I say why it's large in a moment. And there is a drinks cabinet as well, behind one of the paintings, and you only know it's there because of the hinges on the wall. It's absolutely empty, so there's no bottles, no glasses, nothing, but it does have a drinks cabinet. And you can actually imagine men sitting in this room, having a cigar and having their glass of whiskey from the drinks cabinet. We are now, at least I am, standing in the Mayoress's parlour, completely different from the Mayor's office with that very masculine dark tones. The Mayoress's parlour is much, much brighter, completely different and an airy space. The three-piece suite is one which I usually say to people where we've hosted members of the royal family. And the Queen has visited, so in one seat the Queen has actually sat. And you bring other very special guests in here, ambassadors and very important people, for your sort of tea and coffee and biscuits type chat. And in the cupboard here, we've actually got some cups and saucers, which have actually got the coat of arms on. So we would give our special guests those, although we've got some other special cups and saucers too, but a whole tea service in there. All the furniture was actually made, and the furnishings were actually made by a well-known Southampton firm called Shepherd and Hedger. And on the ends of the tables you can see the scallop shells, that theme, that nautical maritime theme we actually have in the city. And again, all the wood is actually walnut. I mentioned the size of the desk in the Mayor's office because the size of the desk in the Mayoress's parlour is so much smaller, quite a midget of a desk. And on it, two presentation phones, the traditional type of phone, no push buttons. They actually had the dials, one marked a link with the United States and the other marked the number of telephone lines which had actually been installed in the town at the time. So a much smaller desk. There is a chair, but they're being reupholstered at the moment as a special treat because they were getting a bit tired. And we've also had some nice new curtains as well because they had holes in as well where the sun shone through. I love traditional clocks, and so I actually do like carefully winding this 19th century clock. I like hearing the ticking. Sadly, although the bells are there, it actually doesn't chime. Again, choices of paintings on the wall, which have been here for a couple of years, but an interesting one, the Southampton's High Street before the bombing, shows you what a grand and fantastic high street we actually had in Southampton in the past. And again, other gifts on the tables, two unusual dolls from Japan, and a cabinet filled with other cups and saucers, including some spode as well. But a very special room for the Mayoress's parlour and for very, very special guests to have tea and coffee. Outside the Mayor's office and Mayoress's office, there's a corridor which we call our maritime corridor, because we have a theme of things connected with the sea. So we have plaques where visiting ships, captains have presented us with a plaque, and we give them a coat of arms of Southampton as well. I'm standing next to one of my favourite paintings of the QE2, the Queen Elizabeth II, the Cunard vessel sailing up Southampton water with the chapel tower of Royal Victoria Park in the background. Also along this corridor we have a silk painting which came off of an earlier Queen Elizabeth, one of the Cunard vessels. As a child I remember the Queen Mary had 3 red and black funnels and the Queen Elizabeth had 2 red and black funnels. So this silk painting was actually purchased by subscription, people who actually wanted to keep something of the Queen Elizabeth in the town. We did actually have a past mayor who worked on the Queen Elizabeth, and his job was actually to clean the edges. So this always reminded us that was Dorian Atwood. Having links with a naval vessel, we have the ship's bell from HMS Southampton when that was actually decommissioned. I believe that when a child of one of the seamen is actually christened on board, that their name is actually engraved on the inside of the bell. We also have it's labelled as a sword of state, a sheathed sword of state, an almighty heavy sword which is actually laid on the table, which is unsheathed during times of war. Not much is known about it apart from it being mentioned in 1801.